The track 5 is the last track on the album. The title track, The Court of the Crimson King. Lyrics by Pete Sinfield, of course, and composed by Ian MacDonald, the only one to get credit on this track. And the timing on this one kind of varies a little bit, depending on if you have the copy that has the short hidden, kind of a hidden track at the end of this one. But it ranges anywhere from 9.5 minutes to 10 minutes. This is the only track on the album that was released as a single, and it reached number 80 on the Hot 100, the only track of any of King Crimson's songs that reached the top 100 on Billboard. Part 1, or the A side of the single, was 3 minutes and 22 seconds. Part 2, the B side, was 4 minutes and 25 seconds. So on this track there are two internal sections. There's sections that are inserted into the middle of the track. The first one is the instrumental section, which is also known as the Return of the Fire Witch. And the second section, internal section, is the reprise at the end, the Dance of the Puppets. So this track is recognized by a very distinct riff with the mellotron. Again, another dramatic track like Epitaph. It has 4 stanzas with an instrumental section, and the climax to the actual track takes place about 7 minutes, or at 7 minutes, and there's a kind of a coda or a reprise ending and then the actual ending is kind of a loud and abrupt, free time, on a free time scale, in that there's no real meter on the end of it. And that's it. Kind of similar to track number 3, but having its own distinct melody and a lot of its own distinct characteristics. One of the favorites of a lot of people who like the album. So that's it. 5 tracks on that particular album, and all of them fairly lengthy, as could be expected in a lot of progressive music that would come after also. So, like I said, this album set the standard for a lot of progressive music that was to come, and it definitely opened up the way for that type of music. Not that there wasn't progressive music before this, but this is the one that a lot of people give it the credit for starting the entire progressive movement that became popular at that time. So my particular copy of In the Court of the Crimson King is a double album. Of course, the first album is the regular album that you would normally find, and it comes in this inner sleeve that has all the different reissues and everything that were done at the time, and the different formats they come in. The second album is an alternative album, and it kind of reproduces kind of a negative to the album cover, as you can see. And on the other side, it has the listing of what's on the alternative album, plus quotes from all 5 of the members, which is really quite interesting. The track listing for the alternative album almost follows the track listing of the regular album, starting off with 21st Century Schizoid Man, done at the Morgan Studios, June 1969 take. with Greg Lake vocal overdubs from Wessex Studios, August 1969, and Jacko Jasnik and Mel Collins with some August 2019 overdubs added in, which gives it an interesting sound. The second track is I Talk to the Wind, an alternative 2019 mix. And track 3 is Epitaph, an alternative take with a 2019 mix. The second side starts off with, again with Epitaph. The vocals are isolated in this particular instance and highlighted, and it has been remixed in 2019, as has all of the tracks on this alternative album. Track 2 on the second side is Moonchild, the first take. Track 3 is The Court of the Crimson King, recorded in Morgan Studios, June 1969 take. And track 4 is a 21st Century Schizoid Man again. This is the trio version. So basically different versions of the same songs, and definitely worthwhile, I think, especially if you're a real big completist as far as King Crimson goes. And that's it. So as far as the album, the aftermath of the album, the album itself was put together from a wide range of influences from all 5 of the members. There were mixed reviews in the beginning when this was released. Some of them were not very good reviews. For example, Village Voice critic Robert Christgau, who's quite a famous critic, of course, called the album ersatz shit. And in the meantime, Rolling Stone, John Morthland, said that King Crimson had combined aspects of many musical forms to create a surreal work of force and originality. So both good and bad reviews. Now, lately, of course, it's been considered a classic, a masterpiece, pretty much all around. I don't think anybody has much bad to say about it. In fact, there's one critic, I'm trying to find who it was, but mentioned that, here it is, Rolling Stone in 2015 named Court of the Crimson King the second greatest progressive rock album of all time, behind Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon. It's also featured in the book 1001 Albums You Must Hear Before You Die. So a lot of accolades for the album now. And if anybody has a King Crimson album out there, it's most likely going to be this one. Now, there was a lot of success that came about because of this album. The success and the critical acclaim caused some creative tension in the band. Both Michael Giles and Ian McDonald didn't like the direction the band was taking, but from the response that it was getting from everybody, it seemed to be that was the direction it was going to go in. Now, Robert Fripp was not considered a major contributor to the band at this time. Of course, he didn't write the lyrics and didn't do a lot of the music, which was done by Ian McDonald for the most part. But both Michael Giles and Ian McDonald just couldn't deal with the touring schedule that was being demanded of them. They didn't like the direction the band was going in, and they didn't like the path that music was taking them in. So instead of having the band dissolve, which was the main fear from Robert Fripp said that he volunteered to quit just so the band would stay together. And both McDonald and Giles agreed that the band itself was actually more connected to Robert Fripp than it was to them, that most people knew the band because of Robert Fripp. So they insisted that they be the ones to retire, and because that's what King Crimson was known as, progressive rock. So that's what happened. The original lineup of Robert Fripp, Ian MacDonald, Peter Sinfield, Michael Giles, and Greg Lake. The last show they played together was at the Fillmore West in San Francisco, and that was on December 16th of 1969. And so begins the ever-changing lineup of King Crimson. I was hoping to be able to do the first two albums in this first video, but obviously this one has taken up a lot of time just to do the introduction and to talk about the album itself. So we will leave it at that for now. Keep watching, because I'll be doing the second part of this, which should consist of the next two albums and all the lineup changes that they went through at the time. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I thank you for watching, and we will talk to you again soon.